Well, long time no chat, everybody. So this video will be titled COVID and Me. All right, so let me do a quick backstory. My left leg. I've always had problems with this leg. I got it all twisted up in a wreck about 17 years ago or so. So I've had, some, uh, purple veins and stuff like that, and they would bunch up. So I've had some minor clotting issues. Um, uh, Few years back, I went and got an ultrasound. They didn't find anything, but they were going to put me on blood thinners. I got the script, but I was like, God, I don't want to do that. So I was just still treating it with compression socks. Um, you know, and I mean, I've got pictures of me on vacation 5 years ago with compression sock on this left leg. So I've always dealt with it. Now, fast forward. Of course, 2020. Amy and I essentially had told ourselves that, we're going to look into this vaccine rollout thing before it comes. So we essentially had to learn a new language. So with the help of some extra friends and stuff, we all put our heads together. And, and you're looking at Oxford papers, and you're looking at John Hopkins papers and Harvard papers and stuff in Europe and stuff. You're looking at the NIH, and you'll follow the trail long enough, you'll figure out. And the funny thing is that like all these papers, and especially ones that purport to be like, oh, the greatest thing, if you scroll down to like a footnote number 30, they're like, well, we don't really know what's going to happen long term. Oh, well, forget that part. Over here, look, sock puppets. So anyway, we decided, you know what? We're not going to deal with it. We're not going to stand in line. We'll wait for the new and improved version. And of course, we all know what we've had to deal with in the last blah, blah, blah. So now let's fast forward. And we never caught it. So now let's fast forward December 30th. Amy comes down with it. Okay, she's 3 or 4 days ahead of me. So she comes down. She's down for about 2.5 days, 3 days. Woo! And she lost her sense of taste and smell. And the Omicron is like, no, it was Delta. Okay, we never got tested, but, we know they don't know any different. So, but she was only down for 2.5 days, 3 days. Now, remember, we've been taking our liposomal C, okay, 2,500 milligrams. We've been doing our zinc. We've been doing our D. We've been doing this nonstop, okay, every day. We're not eating garbage. So with all that being said, so she's down for a couple days, and then I catch it. All right. I'm down for about the same amount of time. It feels like I'm sleeping in concrete, blah, blah, blah. Lethargic. I lose my taste and my smell. But then I end up with an upper respiratory. And so I called my doctor, and she's like, have you been exempt? Now, of course, I lied. And I'm like, no. Vaccine? Oh, yes. Absolutely. Oh, I was the first one in line. She gave me a Z-Pack. I didn't think that they probably would have had I said that, oh, I've got COVID. Oh, no vaccine, you're a pariah. You should go and get on a vent and just die. So anyway, so she put me on a Z-Pack. Bam, Z-Packs. 4 or 5 days. You're woohoo. But still a little bit left in there. So anyway, fast forward it to a couple weeks ago when we had a big snowstorm here in North Carolina, 15 inches, once every 6 years. Come on. So this company I contract through, I've got a snow route. And it's, sidewalks, perimeter sidewalks in their apartment complexes, et cetera, et cetera. But for the amount of money that I was making that day, that whole weekend, I was like, shovel away, motherfrickers. So anyway, did my pre-salt Saturday night, did my shoveling on Sunday. I felt a little still kind of, short of breath, but I was like, well, it's probably from the Z-Pack getting over that upper respiratory. Monday, I went and did a little residual, and my leg, inside of my thigh, all of a sudden felt like somebody hit it with a stick, and it was burning. I was like, man, this ain't right. This is the leg I keep compressed. So Tuesday morning, I was like, okay, Amy, here's what's going on. She said, They get me in for an ultrasound on Thursday. And it shows 2 clots. Okay. COVID related. The doctors are always like, that's, COVID is, well, that is true. Okay. There are, a lot of cases of clotting due to COVID. It's a very, very clever bioweapon. However, I got a friend of mine whose wife had got her booster in mid-December. And the 14th of January, she had a massive heart attack or so. And they put a stent in her. She's okay. They got stents in her. So I don't know how massive, but it was a heart attack, regardless. Just not even a month after her booster. Okay, so what's the lesser of 2 evils here? So anyway, so Thursday I get the ultrasound, blah, blah, blah. This weekend I dropped, and they took me by ambulance. So I threw a clot. Pulmonary embolism. Wasn't big. They were like, well, if I had one, that would be the one to have. So the doctors, they're looking at after they did the CT scan. It's peripheral, it's down here in the lower lung, blah, blah, blah. But it still took a lot out of me. I mean, I felt it, So, is shit COVID? Is shit not COVID? What do you believe anymore? I mean, people stood in line. People did more research buying their last dishwasher than they really did looking into this mRNA. The pathogenic primers involved with this is very suspicious. It doesn't have a good track record, okay? Moderna has never had a successful rollout of anything ever. Ever. Nothing's ever been approved by the FDA. But all of a sudden, then they get like, their stock goes from $10 to like 300 or something. It's dropping now, but, so now you're talking 40 trillion strands of a chimerically altered, computer simulated code, like, Deltree, delete, injected to then create a synthetic spike protein in our bodies. It's a pathogen, in the hopes that our body will then turn around and recognize it and create antibodies for this pathogen that it was told to create from this injection we took. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? You've got these ADE issues that are starting to rear their ugly head that they debunked. They hired some guy from Pfizer. You can actually Google it and find this guy. He's like, my theories, a hypothesis on ADE. That's it. You'll find it. He's like, oh, no. I'm sick of tired of talking about this. This is all gobbledygook. Yeah. Then you scroll down and look at his credentials. Pfizer. People are like, yes, that's right. Gobbledygook. ADE, it's all been debunked. So anyway, now long story short, it took a lot out of me. But I've got my natural immunity. How's that, motherfuckers? You're going to have to stick this motherfucking jab in me, kicking and screaming. Okay? I will wait for the new and improved version. Remember the 1984 Corvette? Y'all remember that? How many of you are old enough to remember the 1984 Corvette? See, they didn't have an 83 Corvette. They spent all that time designing the new C4. Know what happened when it rolled out? It was a fucking rattle trap. That was an electrical nightmare and all kinds of shit. You know what it's worth today? A couple thousand, maybe. $1,500 you can get them for. If you can find one. Most of them just been thrown to the wayside. Because they were crap. It was the first car. You never buy the first model year of any car. Never. That's common sense. You always wait for them to work out the bugs. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing good. I'm hanging in there. I'm alive. Took a lot out of me, but I'm working through it. So that's that. We'll see ya.